As a high-income professional, you only earn when you learn. Hey, this is Justin here with Inside Strategic Relations. I'm going to share with you a method that I use that can add another $20,000 to $30,000 in net income to what you do every day. If you're a high-income professional or entrepreneur, and when I say entrepreneur, I mean like consultant or business owner, you can use this method to learn new skills and embed them in your brain in such a way that you can actually use them while increasing your income, while driving forward assets in your business. And it's a simple method of being a mentor to your clients. And here's how it works. Now, you can do this a number of ways, and there's different models that we can share in another program. But ultimately, what you're doing is you're helping your clients make better buying decisions. So if you're in a professional workplace and you're a subject matter expert, you're helping people around that subject make better decisions around that subject. So I do risk management and controls. So I'll take extra time necessary to train a business partner how to write a control. Now, they should already know how to write a control. They even have required training that teaches them how to write a control. And it's part of their day-to-day job because sometimes they're control owners. But ultimately, I will invest the time to teach them if necessary. Now, you have to, you're working with other high-income professionals. You have to have a dialogue and make sure they want to learn, because if they don't want to learn, you teaching them isn't going to help them. It's just going to irritate them. But I will actually take the time and effort to maybe spend an extra hour after work to sit down and answer questions they have about writing controls or approach to risk management or any of these other areas that in the back of my mind, I had an expectation that they would know. They're the process owner. You're supposed to know this. But in reality, they're busy just like the rest of us, and they've got a lot going on. We have to understand that our position as a high-income professional by skill alone is easily outsourced. There's always someone who has your same skills somewhere else. However, those relationships, that connection that you'll have with individuals who you can now work with as a partner, have them teach you about their business, you teach them about your side of the business, and ultimately you'll work together and create a better outcome. This is the only way to secure future income. Now, it's not always easy. There will be times where you're working with a bunch of dum-dums that don't take the time to go read a book, and you've read the books, and you've invested in the programs, and you've gone to the classes, and they're just kind of, can you help me with this? And they don't want you to teach them. They want you to do it. Well, my point being is that by educating them about how to make better decisions, you're not teaching them how to do it. You're teaching them how to make decisions about what you're doing. And in that decision, who are they going to turn to? Well, they're going to turn to you, which makes your position more valuable. In effect, you're teaching them how to be your assistant as you partner together for the mutually beneficial outcome that you're looking for. Now, this is an important concept. Now, some people will tell me, well, Justin, if I teach them how to do what I do, and I teach them the nuances of what I do, I'm going to have a competitor in the marketplace. Maybe they'll like it and they'll want my job. Not likely. It's not likely to happen. In fact, I've hired hundreds of people over the years that I've taught exactly how to do the things that I get paid 5 figures to do. And, in some cases, even 6 figures to do. And there hasn't been a single person who has tried to take my job. In fact, many of them will come back as subcontractors, and they'll be very valuable because they have a certain level of understanding, but not an expertise. So if you're partnering with somebody, you have to respect the subject matter expertise that they have, and they need to understand the subject matter expertise that you have. Now, notice I say you respect theirs. They don't have to necessarily respect yours. But in order to work together, you're going to share with them the framework that makes your life easier. Now, in the long run, it makes their life easier, especially if you're in a governance or compliance role. But let's look at this in the business area. I was printing in my office marketing materials, and my staff were folding them and putting them in envelopes. And I started maybe 20 letters a day and eventually got up to maybe 500 or 600 letters a week that were going out in a batch. And this was how I was marketing my small consulting business back in the 90s. And it works very well today, by the way, and we can talk about that someplace else. But what's important here is that I thought I had a program and a plan, but what was happening is I was tying up my staff, including my bookkeeper and my assistant. I was tying them up for 20 to 30 hours a week to print, fold, and mail marketing materials. So I was sharing this story with a friend and asking him if he had any ideas. And he said, oh, by the way, do you know what business I'm in? And I said, no, I don't know what business you're in. See, he hasn't educated me about how to make decisions about his business. In fact, he was a mail shop. So his business was printing and mailing letters. That's what his business did. That's all they did. They mailed statements for people. They mailed marketing materials. And I said, well, this is incredible. I didn't even know this existed. And so he explains what their business does. And then what he shared with me is how my business interacts with his subject matter expertise. So he asked me to give him a copy of the last couple of mailings that I sent out, and he would give me feedback on how I can not only improve the mailings to get better results, but how I might be able to improve the efficiency to free up my staff's time for them to do the jobs they were hired for. See, that's the message that was in the back of my head. I had my staff sending letters, and I knew if they stopped sending letters, I'd stop getting clients, and I couldn't pay the staff. But the staff weren't doing bookkeeping, and I knew I was getting behind in invoicing clients, so I couldn't collect the money. It was just a giant cluster mess. But I was terrified of stop sending the prospect newsletter or stop sending my my letters that were going out to introduce our solutions. And so when he said, you can finally let your staff do the job that you paid them to do, I was like, give me a tour of your facility. Here's the campaigns. Give me some ideas. See, he didn't teach me how to do my system better. He showed me another option or solution that made it work better. And then he gave me a tour of the facility. And it turns out there are machines that print, fold, and stuff envelopes. I had no idea back in the 90s. No idea. So he reduced the process, not by making it easier for us to do, but he eliminated steps by simply saying, here's what you do. You give us a copy of your mailing list and the PDF print-ready file of what you want printed. That was it. I was done. I look at a proof. He says, okay. They go out in the mail. He even saved me money on postage. And net, it cost me less to use the mailing house than it did to use my staff. And then my staff got back to work. Now, unfortunately, I had been doing this for a couple years, and I found out that my staff had not been sending invoices out. They had not been auditing the timesheets from my contractors and subcontractors. They had not been doing a lot of things that needed to be done, and this was a very expensive lesson. However, I was able to scale up from the print shop, get a new set of customers that paid their bills on time, and then ultimately drove forward into my business development consulting and closed down my computer consulting. But the point I'm making here, folks, is this expert, the mail shop owner, educated me not about how to be a mail shop owner, but how to better work with a mail shop owner to get the results that I was seeking. See, if you're not learning, you're not earning. He goes on to take seminars and courses, and he shared little tidbits in his newsletter about how to improve my printing, how to remove bounced messages. And I started developing the skills of list management. Now, I've never, in the last 20 years, became a mail shop. However, I have sent a volume of business to mail shops and helped them with the back office part is what my core business is, business analyst work and back office automation, through the business process management side, risk management side. But my point being is that you take on the position of a mentor and you find willing participants who want to be mentees, and you will move up in organizations and increase value in the marketplace. You'll be in a position to share what you've learned as both reinforcement for the learning process. So every study shows in psychology that if you go learn something and you apply it, and then you teach others how to apply it based on your experiences, that you'll reinforce what works in your particular environment. Now, don't do this. Don't go out and take a seminar and then, write up notes and then sell the notes. Don't start tutoring people in topics unless, of course, you're being paid to do so. There's certification exams. There is an opportunity to part-time be a trainer and train for the Project Management Institute, for example, or for your trade association. You can be a speaker at the trade association. You can be a trainer at the trade association. Those are okay, and they fit into some models, but they have challenges if you don't do them correctly because they'll consume a large amount of time. However, through the day-to-day activities that you have and the interactions in your current course of business, if you share the insights necessary for the other person to get benefit, to simplify the task, to get better results, to better work with you and the people on your team, you will always grow. If you go a step further to write essays, presentations, training materials, you may find an opportunity to get out in front of more prospective hirers. So my friend who shares with me he's got a mailing house and shares with me some insights about how to be more effective with my mailings, he leveraged just a few minutes of his time, invested a few minutes of his time to restate something I'm sure he said 1 billion times. But it was worth to him at least 100,000 net in new business. I referred to him, and I still refer to him today. It depends on my client's needs, but for many of the letters that go out and other resources that go out, he is an ideal provider. Now, there's one of these guys in every town. In fact, there's probably 4 or 5 of guys and gals that do mail services in every town. He's the only one that took the time to listen to my challenge, to educate me on how to make better decisions about solving my challenge. Again, he didn't tell me a solution. He helped me make a decision about the options available to solve my problem. And then he offered me more information. This is kind of a direct response model. And then I eventually, gave him some samples. He gave me some feedback. I did a tour of his facility. Next thing you know, I actually did his website, one of his early websites. I took some pictures at the facility. I set up the website. We did a joint venture co-op because I didn't want to send my mailings with him right away. I helped him send his mailings because I was transitioning to business development. He got a whole bunch of new business that way. And I wouldn't have done this if it wasn't a friend, but I got comped on a number of mailing projects, and ultimately it was a win-win. It is what we call strategic relationships. It is applying your knowledge in a way that both advances your position and helps other people work with you more consistently and regularly and headache-free. It is a way of taking new knowledge and through a simple application, so you're learning with the intent and purpose of using this information to help the people around you get better results when working with you. Okay, let that sink in, by the way, folks. That is $1 billion value that you become in a marketplace. You can't outsource the guy or the gal who is able to connect ideas with solutions, who is able to engage and lift up the people around them to activate outcomes and results. Now, it's a whole other story to talk about how you're not going to get any credit for this, by the way. So you do have to have a built-in system to either use this to get tax deductions or use this to create residual income or passive income, or even use this to position yourself for that next position, because in your current position, you're what they hired you for. Now, all this stuff behind the scenes, spending an extra hour. I spent an extra hour after work a couple days ago mentoring somebody around a topic that they were having challenges with. Nobody knows but you and I. Okay. And they're not going around telling people, and I'm not going around telling people because it was a connection moment, because we're going to work together on other projects, and I want to make sure they have the skills they need to provide me quality inputs. And I know this sounds very selfish, but I'm helping that person not have headaches and frustrations for handing over poor quality work. Now, they weren't providing poor quality work in the beginning, and we can talk about how to select those people that are worth investing time in. And so you're going to see clues of quality work, and you're going to see that they just need to edge it forward a little bit, like my friend with the mail shop. He saw I was using mail, he saw I was having challenges with mail, and he saw that there may be a small bridge to get to a position where I could eliminate my challenges but still get the outcomes I was looking for. It is thankless at times, and it will not directly translate into your paycheck. However, I attend $12,000 or more in training every year. I hire people to work for me to do things. I have teams of people who have been trained by myself and other people that I trust who are out there in the marketplace and available as subcontractors or as agents driving forward the outcomes that I'm looking for. This is about building a network of qualified individuals. Now, I didn't even get a chance to go into how I'm inventorying high quality people in the marketplace already, because you're going to find people who already have their stuff together. I put them on a list. If I need somebody who has a mail shop and they can get a letter mailing out, I know at least 3 people who can do that on a consistent basis, and I would feel comfortable referring them. I'm not going to go into that because we're running up on time here. I just want to share with you, though, that if you're not learning, you're not earning. And the best way to learn and reinforce knowledge is to teach. And if you're going to teach, why not help those who are learning work with you more effectively, work with you more efficiently, provide better inputs to the work that you're doing, as well as reduce the amount of headaches that they have when working in the area in which you have a subject matter expertise. We understand that other individuals have different expertise, and you may even position yourself to learn from someone else so that you can have a better interaction with them. And this altogether is our strategic relationships in use. I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. I'm here to help you transform business relationships to profit. The profit here is time saved. The profit here could even be additional income streams. However, it starts with that willingness. Are you willing to help those who work with you make better decisions about the expertise in the areas in which you provide services? Thanks for listening. You can always visit us at www.insidestrategicrelations.com and ask your questions. Simply leave us a message, and we'll be happy to share answers in programs such as these. Thanks for listening. Again, I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations.